obviously, since you're listening or watching this podcast, you like TTRPGs. That's safe to assume, correct? Right? You're not just here, like, wondering why you're here. Well, lucky for you, the wonderful crew at Soul Muppet have you covered on simple yet elegantly designed games like Orbital Blues, Paint the Town Red, and their very successful Kickstarted project, Doom Spiral. With Soul Muppets games, you can tell stories that are unconventional, atmospheric, and above all else, unashamedly political. You can use my link down below to pick up some of the free quick start guides for their games, or if you're ready to dive right in, that same link will get you to the store to buy the full editions. Thank you to Soul Muppet for partnering with us, and I hope we can tell some really amazing stories soon. If you want to learn more about the games and the crew behind them, you can go to soulmuppet.co.uk. Hello and welcome back to After the Table, a TTRPG podcast. 'Tis I, your emo-hearted drag queen who's stuck in a dungeon of their own making, Shelly Von Miller. Look, I'm not claiming that all the intros are amazing. All right, sometimes they're bad, and they're awkward. All right, that's just who I am. All right, calm down. But you know who's not awkward? Our guest for this week. Hello. What a segue. Call me Segue Sally. This week we have part of the crew of the award-winning TTRPG channel who tells amazing and emotional tales. They might like Dungeons over Dragons, who knows? And they work with some of my favorite people in the TTRPG space. Welcome to the table, Ra from The Heart is a Dungeon. Hello.
Hello, it's so good to be in the studio. It's wonderful in here.
Yes. I'm hoping you're able to stretch out and enjoy yourself while you're here.
I guess I will.
Well, you know, I have to treat our guest well. But for those who don't know who you are or who the Heart is a Dungeon is, let the people know.
Hey, I'm Rara. I go by they, he pronouns, and I'm the creator, sound designer, usually GM, writer when it's an audio drama, and showrunner for The Heart is a Dungeon. We've been around about 2 years. We're a podcast channel for sure. We've never really had a stream, but we do put out an audio drama as a treat from time to time. So we're kind of new in the space, but we've recorded over like 60 players, and we've had a pretty good time so far, and it's a pleasure to be here.
That's amazing. Yeah, 2 years. That's wow.
2 years December, so I guess now it's about 2 years and 2 months or so.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm. So yeah, how did you get into TTRPGs? What's your origin story?
I got into them in person during like the COVID era. I actually got into them very late in life.
In person? Mm-hmm, in person during COVID?
We had like a bubble of the same people every week or every 2 weeks. But I had always done storytelling. I used to run a poetry publishing company. I used to do open mics and storytelling on stages and things like that. So somebody gifted me Dungeons and Dragons books, and they're like, I think you'd be really good at this. And I started looking at them, and I was like, wait, I've read all the Forgotten Realms books. Like, I know who all these characters are in this. And started running games. And then ran games in person for a few years, ran them in public places, and ran like a queer D&D meetup so people could find safe tables in like a conservative region. And then our home table moved away, and I was like, well, there goes my campaigns. We ended the stories and everything. It was a good ending. And then I realized that I saw some people play games online. So I went and applied for like 12 things, not thinking I'd get into anything, and I got into like 11 of them, and I said yes to all of them, and that just kind of started. So I used to do a lot more streams than audio the first 6-8 months or so.
I feel like that's whenever you get into the AP space, that is the thing you do. You just apply and like hope you get into anything, and then your whole week is just game after game after game after game, and you're like, oh, I'm tired, but I love it because I get to tell stories and everything like that. So how did the Heart is a Dungeon start?
Well, I had been thinking about it for a while. I've always really liked audio dramas. I had tried to get involved in a group where we actually did all the sound effects on stage for like a live performance of an audio drama. And it was actually, I had been talking to my partner at the time about it for quite a while, but it was more of a time situation and not really knowing if it was worth the work. I didn't know how to sound design. I had never done it in my life. So there was, also that. And then I heard the first episode come out of Worlds Beyond Number, and I was like, there are people who are doing what I want to do, and that makes me upset because they're already very good at it. So I tricked my partner into playing a half-hour D&D session on a Zoom call, and then that became our first episode. So I went to Google and I'm like, how do you sound design? And then I went, where do you sound design? And I made an episode. And we were putting out a little not joke, but a little season. We didn't really expect anyone to listen. It was very kind of artsy fartsy in a way that I really love. And then Grant from Game Master Monday was the first showrunner that noticed us and started directing people to it. And after that, we kind of stopped the little practice season and actually put out a real series. And that was our Fairy series, which won all the awards in 2024. 2024. What year is it now? 2024.
Yeah, time is a weird soup, especially post-COVID. I realized that it's 2020, whenever I started playing D&D as well. I started online, mind you, but playing D&D during that time is 6 years ago. It's oh gosh,
the time does pass regardless.
Yeah, it really does. That's amazing. Well, here's the thing, Worlds Beyond Number, love them, love you guys. If you want to come on, you can anytime. We'll be happy to accommodate you. I will never compare myself to a podcast like that or one of the bigger podcasts, because I'm they've been doing it for a while. They're also professionals in the entertainment space.
With budgets.
You know what? Budgets.
Yeah.
What else? They have their own studio. I'm just in my room with a microphone that was gifted to me by my community, and I'm very appreciative of that. It's one of those things. But how did you come up with the name The Heart is a Dungeon?
Oh, wow. The process was very quick. I remember we played that little Zoom game. My partner at the time went and took a bath. And when they came out, I was like, I started a Spotify account. What do you think of the name The Heart is a Dungeon? So it happened very quickly. I knew I wanted it to be heavily emotional stories. That was the focus and the very intent of it. Didn't really want to do adventures. But I wanted to tie it into the TTRPG aesthetic. For being as much of a bimbo as I am, I'm actually fairly good at branding, and I'm pretty intentional with a lot of it, even when I look like I'm kind of fuddling around. Also part of the branding. So to have the element of the dungeon mixed with the heart, it just kind of sent a clear image right at the beginning, and it seems people like the name. It's an easy one to remember.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, especially with emotional storytelling, you are kind of going piece by piece through a metaphorical heart of trying to digest your own emotions. And I mean, hey, everyone, go to therapy. But I mean, even including therapy, including other people into your life and emotionally bonding with them, it's kind of like going to the next room in a dungeon and kind of, figuring, you don't know what's next. I think it's very apt. Also, I just love the art. It's the cover art. If you haven't
all
seen
of
the
that
cover
is
art,
by
people,
Farrell Moonbeam, who is a fantastic award-nominated artist and award-winning player. from our first season. They
that.
are not doing it as actively now because it took so much time, but they will be doing some still in series to come. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. We love that. What has been the most memorable part of this whole experience for you?
It's been a pretty wild 2 years, like on like a small micro scale, and somebody who literally did not know how to sound design and then won a trophy for sound design in like 6 months. And I was like, well, that's unfortunate because I can't tell you what a compressor does in my editing software. I've never used one. So it was kind of learning a lot by accident while kind of in a spotlight at the same time, which has been a little nervous here and there. But I've met so many incredible people, which is always, that classic story of the friends we made along the way. But I was at Gen Con last year at the birthday party for my dear friend Taylor Navarro, and like Kendo and Grant and Sean from Help Action Needed, Sky, all these friends, Gina was there, we're all in one spot, and they all started saying the intro to Pleasure in West River, one of the Heart is a Dungeon series, and they all started saying the intro monologue because it's the same in every episode. And seeing those many creators that I really look up to, quoting something I wrote and then did as Gideon Meander, who was a reporter for the Trying Times, was just really lovely in a way that I didn't expect. But then there was a behind-the-scenes moment where I'm going to have to brag on Mia, who is my admin, who is not currently here. She has recently joined, like, the behind-the-scenes of Thyad, because I need help. But at the 2-year anniversary of the show, Mia surprised me with, like, 20-something of our friends all in one video call, going one by one about things like we've done over the last year, I have with them. And I cried like a baby the entire time. And it was one of the more sincere things anyone's done for me that way. So that was very moving too. A lot of Thyad, The Heart is a Dungeon, is really rooted in the community of people I play with. Because we're a little more closed off than some circles, just because I like to play with people I know. And it just also leads to some really strong relationships within people you just play games with. So those two memories, both involving friends and some of the same friends, I would say are two of my favorite things that have happened.
That would make me cry and then run away.
Oh, I wept.
Despite me being an emo kid at heart, hello, elder millennial.
Same.
I don't, just like a millennial, I don't like showing emotion. So I run away. I'm like, no, you can't make me cry. Stop it. No, you can't.
It was incredibly sweet, and it was weird. It was like one of those scenes where everyone stands up at the end of a movie, like, they cured me of my nightmares too. But more in like, oh, it's Gina, and I cry.
Your "Oh Captain, my Captain" moment. Oh my gosh!
But from people that have done it longer than me, that I really look up to. So it's a strange moment, and then some of them just make me cry very easily. And I wept for like a half hour.
No.
Yeah, it was brutal. I just kept telling, like, fuck all of you. This is bullshit. Don't let Gina talk.
Don't talk to me. How dare you?
No, but it's a very cool thing, that community. They've helped me a whole bunch through some hard times.
That's amazing. How did you get that group of people together? How did you kind of formulate those people within this your spirit that you can rely on, and kind of be like, hey, do you trust me to tell this story with?
I did like 40 to 60 one-shots in my first like year in the space, where I joined channels like at a wild pace before I started pumping all the brakes, and now I never show up on streams, and somehow streamers still know me, and it's because of that. And so I met a lot of people that way and kind of took my favorites and then some people who got the vibe for Thyad would cast me in things with kind of more serious players and people who were a little more somber in tone, and just met a lot of people through that. But I also lurk a whole bunch of streams and a whole bunch of podcasts, and will do the whole cold message like, hey, I saw you being sad. You're good at it. Type of deal. But I also very heavily pre-record things this last year, so I'm months ahead of my release schedule as far as things being recorded, probably a year almost ahead. So I haven't been casting that much lately.
I wish I could do like a year ahead, but I do like 21 episodes at a time, and I'm like, I would love to get that far ahead, but I don't. This space, despite everything, it can change on a dime.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. It's like, I'll just take it like 2-3 months at a time. We'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. I'll take a break for a month and I'll reset and reach out to people. I should probably give myself more time, but
it was a new attempt because the first year I was just always playing catch up. Like sometimes staying until 3-4 in the morning while Googling how do you sound design the episodes due tomorrow, because I just had no idea what I was doing. And then I had the plan of what if I record a whole year of content in like 4 months, and then I don't have to record the rest of the year. And I almost got it. It was at like 5. And so it was helpful because it made the rest of the year a lot more open, but it left me time to book more shows. So I accidentally made a few extra series than I planned on, but they're short and they're like 2 people at a table. So it is what it is. And that's where some of our guest GMs are going to be showing up. Like Grant has a series that'll be coming out this year that he GM'd for us. And Kendo is currently GMing one where Mia and I are the players in it, and he's bringing his Sublime world over from Tales Yet Told and running it on Thyad, and that's kind of an NC-17 R-rated campaign, so there will be a little tag warning on the front of it and everything. But it's good to have Kendo in the heart of the dungeon.
how do you, I mean, especially with emotions and also kind of those type of subjects, how do you approach those conversations, and what does like a session 0 look like when you know the content is going to be that heavy?
Way more goofy than you'd probably expect. Pretty much everyone in the heart is a dungeon. Well, I've played with there's maybe 80 people or so in the orbit, and I've played with all of them, but like maybe 4. So I have a pretty good gauge with how people are. And at the beginning, there was the idea of like, oh, you want more popular guests as your show goes forward. You want to grow and change. And I decided instead of that, I just wanted to keep working in the same circle and see what happens when you tell more and more emotionally invested stories with people who get more and more comfortable with each other. So that was very intentional. So our session 0s are very funny. No Gods, No Afters is a short series we came out with last year with Ian, Abby, Tatiana, and Sadie, and it's probably one of the more violent things I'll ever run, and one of the darker things I'll ever run. And those session 0s were wacky. Just people laugh screaming about how fucked up they were about to be, but it's all out of a relationship versus a nervousness with a stranger. If they haven't played together, they've at least been in the orbit of each other, or at least 2 of them have played together, so nobody's a stranger at the table. So I'm pretty intentional with my casting. I'll bring new people into more whimsical things, but I won't bring them into heavier things unless I know that they're comfortable and can hang, because I have a little bit of a weird GMing recording style. Like, I'll just say something and leave. Like, you walk up to the sad door.
Now the question is what is a sad door?
See, that's up to the players. I'm a much different GM than a lot are, in the way that I don't really have a lot predetermined. I'm just letting them tell me what they do or see. So I'll say a prompt and just duck out, because I use a standing desk, so I can just drop down, and I'll leave people to flounder. Like I recorded with Navarre and Jean last night, I believe, just one episode, and I think I said maybe a short paragraph in an hour, and the rest was just them holding space and making the
Oh, I
scene move
love that.
forward. Yeah. And that's highly encouraged too. I always tell players that's how I prefer things. I try to take myself out as much as possible. So I'll ask prompts like, what do you see as you walk through this hallway? And if they begin it like, as I walk down this hallway, then I just take myself out. So nobody hears me being a brilliant director. They just hear the player moving forward in a monologue.
I love that approach to storytelling, to like GMing, because one, it gets the player invested in the story a lot easier and a lot sooner, because they're developing. Yeah, you can make this beautiful, like, beautiful world, but it will be kind of static until other people kind of add their own little bit in there. I say that as somebody who's been sitting on a world that they've been building for several years now, just afraid to have people join in and be like, all right, here you go. But it was also asked for. It was from a one pager that I made, and people are like, I want to know the world behind this. I'm like, well, fuck. Okay.
And being a sound designer too, it makes it a little different because there's a lot you can do with sound design that will take the place of a GM. So
yeah.
sometimes I GM for the players. Oh, you're walking through a loud party. You hear the din of things around you. I can just take that out and sound design the party. So sometimes it's so the players know where to speak from versus anything the audience needs to hear. And I think that's a big change with Thiad with other shows, as we cut a lot of fat, quote unquote, from the episode and try to keep the audience's viewing of it kind of at the priority in a cinematic way. So a player might have had a wonderful experience going and spending 20 minutes searching over there for something they didn't find, but the audience doesn't need to hear that. That doesn't change who you are moving forward. But other shows like to keep it all raw, and we're very intentional with we do not do that. We cut the crap out of people's episodes.
Well, also, I mean, that's the difference between something that's built for an audio drama and something that's built as, like, just an unedited actual play.
We
So,
kind of
I
hover
think,
on that line a little bit.
yeah, it's one of those things you have to figure out what is the line where they're both. And I think that comes down to, one, the game that you're playing, the structure in which the audio drama is built on, but two, how your players interact with the world, because that's essentially the actual play part of it.
I
So,
have some incredible players. It is well known, Shelley, that I have wonderful taste and talent. In the Heart of the Dungeon, there are some incredible players that some are fairly well known and others not at all. But all of them are like these masters of sincerity that you can just leave a little spotlight and they will hold it as long as I need them to. And now that it's been going on a while, I've played with a lot of them more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times for some of them. And the chemistry is just, it's so lovely. I love playing one-shots with people I don't know that well. And then a long-term campaign when you're all in character is a whole different story, but almost feeling like an AP theater house where we're always casting in-house for everything. Is just my favorite way to look at it. Even with our listener count, when we first started, I was like at least like a small local theater. If that many people are listening every episode, then that's
yeah,
awesome. Like we did what we sought out to do.
it's very troupe like. It's very like Shakespearean troupe like, where you know the group that you have and you can move them as to whatever position, and some people might not have that position right now, but they'll be included in a different thing. So
It's
yeah,
hard because I just meet so many people I'd love to put in. And it's like,
that That's the
Thiad does
problem of being
nothing
in.
fast. Everything takes a long time, and the heart is a dungeon.
Yeah. Well, it's a dungeon, and that's why it's called a dungeon crawl.
Like no gods, no afters. Those poor four who I love dearly were in a chat for probably 10 months before session. We had 2 session zeros before the second one because I designed the system and the playbooks based on what type of gods they wanted to be. So I had never designed entire playbooks before that overlap mechanically. So that took me a lot longer than I expected.
Yeah, I think that's the other part of if you're making something from scratch to include the system itself or borrowing from a system, it's kind of like, oh, that's a lot of work. Oh, I didn't realize that was a lot of work. Okay, all
At this
right.
point, we've ran
Well,
more homemade systems than we've ran actual systems. The next one we'll be going into later this year is all Thirsty Sword Lesbians, because Evil Hat's sponsoring that one. So we'll be in that for a while doing little side series on the periphery, kind of.
we love thirsty, we love swords, and we love lesbians. And whenever you combine all three, chef's kiss. I will forever sing the praises of Thirsty Sword Lesbians. That and Girl by Moonlight.
I have yet to play Girl by Moonlight.
It's so good. It's so good. I backed it, and so I have the book and all the stuff, and I'm like, yes, give me all the things. Yes. Well, okay, on that, what is some advice you would give to people who aren't necessarily, coming into the process of sound design, and you were saying, like, I was literally 3 a.m. at Google. What systems have you put in place that have made it easier so you're not 3 a.m. in Google all the time?
The boring answer short is if you sound design for like 40 to 50 hours a week for a couple years, you get a little better at it. Unfortunately, it just takes a long time. My musical, I've been in hip hop bands. I used to do a lot of poetry, open mic, spoken word stuff. I've never really been much of a musician, but I was like the backup bass player for a few bands of friends. So music's been definitely a part of my orbit, but I was always kind of the poet hanging out with the music kids. Art periphery, if you will. So I also have kind of a strange musical palette because of the weirder music I like. So I'll get messages from people that are like, hey, how do I sound like the heart is a dungeon? I was like, well, spend a god-awful amount of time on every episode, listen to some really strange music for a few decades, and do too much LSD. After that, you might develop like a certain sound for when music's not supposed to go together, and it can. Because that's one of the weird things I seem to do a little differently, is I put things together that shouldn't go together.
I love that. Also, as somebody who as somebody with like a weird eclectic listening palette as well, it really does help whenever it comes to just being able to pull like brain do the thing. Hi brain. Just references.
Yeah. Things you've heard be done correctly.
Yeah.
When I first joined this space, I expected it to be actually a lot of like maybe older hipster art alt kids, like a lot of people who walked kind of a similar art path that I did. And then I found it was a bunch of theater nerds that had never even like smoked weed before. And I used to like hitchhike coast to coast because I wanted to be a beatnik, and like I was that type of elder millennial. So it's a little strange sometimes. I'm like, wait a minute, how are you all playing this range of emotions when like you've never had a heartbreak, you've never actually like taken a road trip? Like, you all are amazing actors.
I will give this to hey, theater kids, this is no Tino shade of you. Good on you.
Yeah, we can't talk shit. There's too many of them.
There's too many. They'll beat us up at the next con.
We're out here raw dogging improv with a bunch of theater kids. It's terrifying.
Yeah. As somebody who also has, it does not have like a, like I have a music background. Like I did band in, junior high, but also I come from the club. So like I was doing drag in the club. And so it's one of those things, like you just absorb all the stuff. It's like, oh, improv? I have no idea. I'm like, sure, yeah, I can. Okay, how would this? Yes. Okay, I'm not pulling from like Meisner or like, what's the other one? I don't know. Theory, theater theory.
I've been in like a couple plays, and they were for like church elementary school. After that, it was like all beatniks and poetry shit.
Exactly. Mine was just dealing with life and being in the military. Just be like, all right, hooray. I will say this right now. That's the difference between a lot of the younger kids and us elder millennials is like the sphere is a little bit smaller with them, but like the elder millennial, it's like literally you could have somebody who's like me, like from drag queen or like from the military drag queen perspective, and then somebody like you who's like, oh yeah, I hitchhiked around the country. I'm here. I'm a poet.
And then some of these Zoomers are just like so talented, smart. Like, and some of the younger players I even know, like Tatiana from Soul Operator or Abby, Enough of Abby, they're so skilled and insightful, and they play with depth and maturity. And like, oh, I'm 24. I was like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm just blown away by some of it.
It's also the connections that they've been able to make. I mean AOL Instant Messenger and, Yahoo chat rooms, but it was all just dumb shit that we were talking about. Who the fuck knows? But the way that they've been able to transfer information and feeling and the connection that they've been able to make, I think also helps. And it helps them be a little bit more empathetic and understanding and able to pull from those experiences even if they haven't had them before.
As a millennial, the best generation and the only generation that's never done anything wrong, we're really cheering for the Zoomers, and we're upset that they voted the way they did last time. And we hope that they do better next time.
Look, kids,
we're all growing up together, kids.
Bring it in. I need you. While we're recording this, it is primary season in some states. I need you to go vote in your primaries, but don't vote like I'm going to say it, like an idiot. Don't vote like an idiot. Do your research outside of TikTok. Your ChatGPT does not always help. Trust me. I don't even use it. I don't use it. I don't trust it.
I listened to an episode today on AI-induced psychosis in a podcast, and that was very interesting to me. I like to think about things. Yeah,
whenever AI started infiltrating into academia, I was like, what is the point then? I'm like, I'm getting this degree, but what are we doing? What are we doing here? We're okay with AI? I'm a historian. What's the point? I'm like, I thought this was supposed to make my life easier in how to find things, not make it up. So, that was a whole lifetime ago. Never going back. That's another thing I think a lot of people don't realize is like, you could just make a new life. Make a new life, kids. I mean, we've talked a little bit, getting back on the subject instead of talking about all that. What does we kind of talked about it. What does the lead up and production lead up look like for some of your episodes? Because I mean, y'all have been y'all been winning a lot of awards for not just the sound design but the content and how people are resonating with your stories. There's obviously something there that's like you have to build it up.
I would say the power of the premise does a whole bunch in The Heart is a Dungeon because we're pretty wacky. People will show up their first time recording and will almost come in like they're entering a library, like, oh, I'm here on Thyad, it's gonna be artsy. And then you just have people yelling, go piss girl, and like it's just everyone is so hyper and loud and has this energy, and then they can lock in like nobody else can. The power of the premise is you're here, you're on the heart as a dungeon. Like, it doesn't have to be sad, but it has to be important. So do your best. And I very much will let my players fail. I will just leave them a spotlight and leave it. And they will step up, they will take care of each other, they will make a story happen. So my job is incredibly easy, where I usually will get an idea. Like this Heartwork series we're currently putting out, which has 16 players, including Rick Perry of Dimension 20, and then a whole bunch of amazing people from the space. I can't name everyone, there's 16 of them. And everyone gets like 2 episodes, and they play these strange forces of nature that are recreating life on a barren planet. So, a weird concept. I get weird my concepts are award winning. And I had that idea one day, and I had it cast by noon. Because I just sent out a bunch of messages, and people just tend to say yes when I message. It's gotten easier these days. Except for Kim. Kim from 5GMs in a Trench Coat. She will tell me no because we've done so much together. But Kim is one of the stars of Babylon, which is the Evil Hat series that will be coming out soon. So the process is usually concept, and sometimes we don't have, like in a 16-person show, like Pleasure in West River or Heartwork, you can't get everyone together for a session 0. It's impossible. So I'll make little 5 to 10 minute cute clip art videos where I have narrated the vibe, what's expected, what we're trying to make, the schedule, how the schedule will proceed, how recording will happen, like all those things. And I will just send it to each person. Like, here's a summary, yes or no, are you in? And then everyone has the same information, and then we can proceed from there forward. And so our episodes are usually an hour, so I'll book about 2.5 hours, and we'll talk before, we'll record, we'll talk during. If it's something like No Gods, No Afters, we were very intentional with our safety stuff. Things like Heartwork, you're playing a whimsical, like PG kind of Pixar world. So once again, the power of the premise does a lot of the lifting. So yeah, I've been on other channels where they run smooth ships, where everything is formalized and it happens automatically through an email link and all these things. It's not really like that over there. Poor Navarre, I'm running a game of The Corrupted, which Navarre made, and I always start every recording with like, how does this game work again? And you can just see the death fall upon him.
Look, sometimes you will be locked in. You just need like a keyword to lock back into a game. Mm-hmm. It's the same with me. I might be playing the same game that I've been playing for years, and I'm like, how do I do this? What's going on? Mm-hmm. Huh? Oh, okay, yeah. Like, just a quick 2-word thing, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Some of the success for like our stories has been a little surprising in a way that I'm a very hands-off GM. There's usually never a big bad. There's usually never anywhere I'm trying to get you to go. When I ask you left or right, I sincerely mean it. Like, I don't care. I don't need to do anything specific to make the story matter because you're a creature that is alive. The world will try to make you sad no matter what. So it doesn't really matter to me what you do. Like, I will tie nostalgia in front of you. I will tie regret or second guesses in front of you. And it makes my job very easy. I used to plot out big worlds, campaigns, lore, and all those things, and I really don't now. I'm like, I have an intro paragraph, I'm good. And people are like, what do you mean? We have like 3 episodes we're recording today. I'm like, yeah, I have an intro paragraph. Like, we're fine. Let's just start. Because my players make the stories. I just am very good at reacting and boosting from what they do. I try to not talk that much as a GM.
I need to. It's one of those things, like, it's a learned skill after a while, and if you've been running a lot of games, you learn how to pull that out and then, like, kind of be like, all right, here you go, let's
I'll
make
say
it
if you self-edit also, because you learn how you do things. You listen 100 times to how you worded something, how many ums you said, but you also listen to how the players react. So I think I was talking to Grant of Game Master Monday, wonderful person, Grant of Game Master Monday, about how people don't realize that editing is such a good tool to work on your style as a player. I will go months without playing, and I will be better the next time I do because I've heard myself for 200 hours. And so I really encourage people to watch and listen to their own games if you want to get better. Some people are just having fun, and that's more than fine. But I think self-critique is so useful in this space when it comes to the editing that I wish every editor also played, because you could probably just watch them get better as it went forward.
Oh, yeah. Because they'll be like, oh, that didn't work. Okay, this is way better. And it's kind of playing, not just playing into the camera, but also you learn the plot along the way. You're like, oh, wait. You realize after the fact, you're like, oh, okay, you're this is how this is going. This is, oh, all right. And then you have a better idea of how to not manipulate, but like, make sure that the editing, well, look, I'm not saying it. I'm saying it, but manipulate the edit along the way. But sort of not like a reality TV show where it's all about the edit. Like, somebody's getting the villain edit.
And running emotional games where there's not like a conflict or there's not a resolution, it's more of like a slice of life on an epic scale from time to time. So it can be really nerving going into the finales and stuff because you don't have anything planned. I harp on this weird idea of, if your story can't fail, is there anything brave about it? And so many of my series have had the ability to fail if the players just did not bring like a heart to the table, and they have every time. And I've just been there to kind of help mediate it. I almost see myself more of a sound designer that directs than a GM sometimes. So I think that's the thing about the heavily emotional games too, is you can't prepare in the same way. You can't look at stat blocks. You can't like get that trap that's a 3-part attack the boss will do to get past a shield. You have to just be very open to watching the emotional cues at the table and where you think you can manipulate or lead that cue into a scene. And trying to get a monologue or a hard choice out of somebody, because that's where my favorite money is, right there.
Oh,
Dyad's a weird beast.
I'm gonna take all the notes. I'm gonna take some notes real quick.
I love the Heart is a Dungeon. I've made a lot of art in my life that I've been proud of, and I love the Heart is a Dungeon. I'm not one of those overly like, oh, little me in the space. How could you know? I think what I make is gorgeous, and I think the people I play with are so talented and brilliant, and I can say it with a full chest pretty easily.
Good, good, because the art that y'all make is amazing.
It's a great time too.
Yeah.
With all those editing hours, it has to be good, or else I just wouldn't be making it. It's a lot of time lost to do that.
Hey, everybody, thank your editor.
Thank your editors.
Thank your editors.
Sound editors are weird solo hermit creatures that need you to text sometimes.
just no lights.
Yeah.
Full, just the glow.
Artists can watch TV while they draw. Sound designers can't listen or watch anything. Yeah.
I will have to mute like I will be doing other things and I'm like, all right, it's time to edit a podcast episode or edit a video, and I'm like, I gotta mute everything. People who can edit videos while listening to music or anything like that, good on you. Good on you. I can't. I have to.
You are powerful.
I have to be. I have to be in there. But we've said it before. The Heart is a Dungeon has won numerous amounts of awards. How does it feel to be recognized in the space, especially 2 years in?
I'm autistic, so sometimes we win things. I'm like, I don't know if we really deserved that one. That might have been more of the fest, just, sorting something out there. But there are some, like sound design, that one from the New Jersey Web Fest, that felt incredibly strange, but also good. I have a trophy. It's glass. It's weird. Winning a couple for writing really felt good for the audio dramas because I used to run a poetry publishing company and I just don't use that part of my brain as much as I used to anymore. Farrell's art and the nominations it's gotten have been very... Like, it's impossible to see the early few series of Thyad without imagining Farrell's art for all of it and watching the growth of her art over all those series. In the same way that my sound design grew, you can almost see both of them moving forward. So anytime the art gets any attention, I really, really, really love. I would love to have more of our players win awards. But we always say a win for Thyad is a win for Thyad because... all of us kind of play together. So if any of us are doing better, we're all doing a little better. But PAX Unplugged 2024, was a strange one because we had just won a bunch of awards. I was one of the special guests there to run a panel, and all this attention kind of stacked, and a lot more people knew who I was than I expected, and who I was not comfortable. I didn't know them, and they knew who I was, and that was a little strange. So that's the only time it's really felt awkward at all. Most of the time it's like, oh, here's another Laurel graphic. I'm glad people love the show, and me and my friends can keep entering into these till everyone in them winning are me and my friends. We either want to win or lose to our friends is the way we like to put it. But no, it's fun. We didn't know really anyone we were competing with the first year. And now we kind of came back and we're like, hey, why is nobody entering these web fests? And we kind of told everyone how it worked, the process, and now we keep losing to our friends. So we should have just kept our mouths shut.
I think that's another thing. I see a lot of APs now getting into WebFest or, these different awards, like, things. And it's one of those things, like, we don't know what's going on. We're like, oh, yeah. And, I mean, even the WebFest are like, oh, what are y'all? Okay, we're making like a new section for y'all. Or, carving out space. And I think that's really great. And... I mean, how did that first award season, how did y'all navigate that, not knowing what y'all were doing? In the most polite way of like, hey, we're coming into this blind. Like, hey,
really didn't know what to expect because we didn't know anybody who was entering into any of them. And we missed a few of them, so it wasn't like we had any sort of ranking in the World Cup for the year or anything like that. We had only been around less than a year at the point of entering them, and then we just kept getting into them, and that felt good, and then we just kept getting nominated for things, and that was interesting. And then we won a few things, and this will sound weird. I expected it to take more work to be good in a field of art. So there was a big shock of like, what do you mean I'm winning? Like, some of these people have done this for so long, and I literally do not know how to normalize an audio track. Like, I'm doing this all by ear and not doing it right. And what do you mean I won for sound design? Are you sure? Like, it was a lot more of that type of a feeling. Like the first audio drama I ever made was just with Gina and I, and it was a little like 7-8 minute thing. and it got into a bunch of the web fests, and I was in the New Zealand on a panel for best audio drama, and I'm up there with people from Camlin and people who have gotten their school districts like $500,000 in funding for the audio drama department. And I'm like, I made one episode really high one night, and now you all are telling me I'm the best, so I don't know. Like, you tell me. I don't know why I'm here. So very surreal. This year I feel a lot more at home in it, and I feel a lot more confident in myself and presenting the show in a way that I understand what I'm doing. That first year was just like, I don't know, we're here. Thanks for inviting us, I guess.
Thanks for liking our stuff.
New Zealand.
Thanks, New Zealand. What is some advice you would give to APs and audio dramas, or I guess the audio only field in the AP space, who are wanting to go for these awards?
I would say, wanting to go for the awards,
or at least try their hand at doing this. Not
it'll
necessarily
cost
like,
money.
hey.
So make sure you've got a couple $100 at least, because if you enter at the earliest point of acceptance, it's cheaper than if you enter later. At the beginning, a lot of them can be like $30, and I think the World Cup is $8 to $10, so you're talking $300 maybe could cover you for the whole year of being in them. If you wait later into the year, some of them are like $70, and then you're like, I don't know if this is worth it. So that if on the money side, but also they pay a lot of attention to sound design and sound technique. So if you have a bunch of background noise, which I still struggle with from time to time, being not doing this as long as a lot of people have, that can cost you points. But then other ones really highly rate you on like innovation. And that's where Thiad tends to do a little better than the technical side of things. I'm a great creative sound designer. I'm still learning how to be a technical sound engineer, if that makes sense. So, and get some thick skin. As an elder millennial who was in the poetry stuff, I got hundreds of rejection letters in the mail, like in the actual mailbox. And you had to wait like 3 to 4 months for that rejection letter after you sent in a $10 check and a typed up poem. And you made photocopies at like Thrifties, which was like a drugstore for a nickel. You got really used to rejection being somebody trying to make art at the time. So I would say get a little bit of thick skin. If you get really thrown off by losing, then it might not be for you, because you're going to lose more than you'll win unless you're the best in the world. And so brace for that. And, maybe... Yeah, if you do lose, just do better the next year. If you really believe in what you're doing, then do it again. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about it. Don't let anyone make you feel cringe. Hold on to your weird and believe in what you do. And if the judges don't pick you, just know in your heart that the judges have bad taste and are wrong.
You heard it here first, kids. Hey, by the way, embrace the cringe. Cringe is great. I've done some cringy ass shit on the internet and in person, and I'm okay with it.
Embracing the cringe is an anti-fascist tool that we all need to accept.
It really is. It's an anti-perfectionist, anti-fascist tool. Do you want to be called a fascist?
No.
Yes or no? Exactly. In this economy.
And games are a great place for countering some of that energy. I come from an activist background and will always be more on the side of people's feet on the ground doing the actual work is what does the most. But you do what you can where you are. And I think games are a great place for that. I've been trying to make a few more smutty type games to counter a little bit more of the puritanical like wave that comes with fascism that also has its grips in like the younger generations a little bit too, compared to us like slutty hippie millennials.
Hey, we were grinding on everybody in high school.
So as much as I am a bimbo, I tend to try to be very intentional with the responsibility to uplift the emotional maturity of anyone that interacts with what I make, is what I try to do. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes they turn into jokes and then we all have a good time. but there's not that many jokes on The Heart is a Dungeon.
I mean, what are some games that you're hoping to make a little bit more slutty?
I design games too. I've been on quite the little kick lately. I think I've made like 4 one-pagers this week that I've like put out. All put together. They're all free. If you find me, there's usually a link, but they're all free out there. But I like to make games that are a little slutty, super sad, or super like introspective. Most of my games are designed kind of like a podcast episode. Like you're there to make a scene versus you're there to make a story. So they're brief and heavy and very narratively focused. So I want to make a lot of games slutty, but it's also, I think it's an easy way for people to connect to something feeling strongly. There's some people who haven't really had maybe a lot of emotional depth relationships, but they have had physical depth ones. So it's an easy way to access that, and vice versa. So if parables are the language we tell our own stories in, then there's parables of body, but also parables of like battle or epics or fighting gods and all these things. And I tend to focus a little more on the micro if I have the choice. I love a small story that means the world to the tellers or the people in it. Like Laurie's House, if anyone's never listened to this beautiful show.
So good.
One of the most innovative, like cool ideas and applications of a game that I've seen in a long time. And it's just about this house and the people in it. And it's just fucking gorgeous.
We actually had them on the podcast last season. So, hey, go listen to that episode. We'll link it down below.
We picked them for our Lone Heart Award, which is a little grant we give out every year where we give a show that's been out for under 2 years $200 in podcast equipment. So this year it was Laurie's House, and last year for concept it was Blades of Mayari, which is an all Filipino mythology podcast. And the concept for Ross that did it is just beautiful.
I love that. I love that so much. And I mean, it also shows the diversity within the TTRPG space, within the podcasting space, within the storytelling space. And I'm so glad that that's a thing that y'all are doing, that y'all are able to, be like, all right, hey, we want to make sure everyone has a seat at the table in telling stories. Well, this is the part of the podcast where I say plug your shit. Let the people know where to find you, where to find The Heart is a Dungeon, what's up next, everything like that.
Hey everyone, I'm still Rah. The Heart is a Dungeon you can find anywhere you find your podcasts. Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, but more active on Blue Sky. We're about almost halfway through Heartwork, which is that story of 16 strange figures coming to rebuild Earth. And that's sort of the end of our Pangea arc, which has been like 4 or 5 series that all take place on the same world over multiple generations. And then next, later this year, we'll be starting Babylon, You Are Everything, which is a Thirsty Swords lesbian, sponsored by Evil Hat, soapbox world campaign where there will be dozens of guests slowly joining over the arc. And it starts off with Feral Moonbeam and Kim from 5GMs in a Trench Coat as the main 2. And then chapter 2 will have a different 2 as the main 2. And there's all these moving people. Grant from Game Master Monday will have a series coming out this year on Thyad, and possibly Kendo of Tells Yet Told is also GMing a small series where Mia, my admin, and myself play some real fucked up little characters, and it's going to be adults only because some of us like R-rated content, and we are full-ass adults and want to make that content. So if you do listen to that one, be a little careful because it's nasty.
I love that. Yeah, be an adult. Hey, by the way, this is for adults because I'm an adult. Anything I make is for adults. So
Fair.
There you go. Yeah. When people are like, oh, you play this game that's for kids, I'm like, no. I'm an adult. This is for adults.
I think it was C.S. Lewis said, I'm finally old enough that I can read fairy tales again.
Makes sense. Love that. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank you
podcast.
for
I
having me in
greatly
the
appreciate.
studio. I'm all wound up from this
Yeah.
Americano. Delicious,
Yeah,
though.
I'm so glad I did the espresso myself. I'm not a barista. I just have an espresso machine that's very very cheap.
It's great in here, guys. You should all stop by next time you're in.
Yeah.
Beep.
Yep. Exactly. Insert city here. Well, you can find all the links for The Heart is a Dungeon down in the doobly doo show notes, whatever you want to call it, below. Speaking of finding people on the internet, you can find me everywhere on the internet, in the internet, on the internet, somewhere on the internet, at Shelly Von Miller, because branding is important and I don't feel like having 20 different accounts. Sorry, kids. You're never getting after the table Instagram. It's just not going to happen. I in this economy, I did the social media manager thing. I'm good. Um but I love you guys, gals, and non-binary pals very much. Check us out on Patreon, and I will see you on the internet. Goodbye.